Welcome everybody back to the next video in our new YouTube series, The Cured Collective. It's great to have you back. I'm Joe Sheehey.
I'm Lauren Sheehey.
And today we are going to ponder the question, what does it mean to feel your best? Our mission at Cured is to help you feel your best. That's why we exist. We're discovering it on a day-to-day basis, and we are the conduits to helping cultivate the feeling of good, the feeling of being your best, as we discussed in our first video. So let's talk about it today. What does it look like in our lives? I want to kick today's conversation off with an excerpt from a book titled Cleaning Up Your Mental Mess by Dr. Caroline Leaf. Lauren has read this book. She passed it up to me. I'm in the middle of it. And this passage really stood out to me to tee up today's conversation. Sometimes it feels like we live in a world characterized by fear. People are fearful about their health, the economy, their jobs, the future, corruption, crime, and their feelings of powerlessness. The cost of this fear is toxic thoughts, toxic stress, anxiety, and depression, which in turn increase our vulnerability to disease. The end result of this fear, anxiety, and illness cycle, if we don't manage it with our minds, is a society dependent on external factors such as painkillers, medication, and skyrocketing health costs to fix us. When I read this passage, I thought that, oh, well, there it is. It's true. We are being sold a problem through the media, and then we're also being sold a solution also through the media, but through so many other channels. We're being told that this is the way out, and these are your problems. These are your problems. This is the way out. It's just not real. It's not true. Are there problems in our world? Are we in the middle of a pandemic? Yes. We can say yes to all of these things, but to actually feel our best, I think we need to think about this and actually live differently. So if I were to ask you, what does it mean to feel your best? How do you answer that question, and how does anything that I just read and what we're discussing and have discussed in the first episode contribute to that?
For me, feeling my best, it involves a variety of factors, habits, and there are different aspects of it. To go back to that passage first, I think that a very critical component of feeling my best requires me to disengage from what I'm hearing outside. So over the past however many months, we've been told that on an individual level, we have a certain set of problems. And then on an individual level, we're being told by media, by health officials, by whomever, that there are external solutions for our problems. And I think that in order to be our best self, in order to develop the habits that it requires, the first step is discernment, and it's stepping away from all of the noise of the media. It's pausing before jumping into the solutions that they're offering, and it's actually asking ourselves, okay, what does it mean to be my best self? What do I know about my body, my experience, my life, and my well-being that these officials and media don't know about me personally? So an example, we're being told that we have very fragile and weak immune systems, and that in order to protect our immune systems, one thing that we have to do is stay inside and isolate. And I know for me, that's not my best. Isolating and staying inside doesn't make me feel good, and it doesn't contribute to my health.
It's probably the exact opposite.
Oh my God, it's the exact opposite. Yeah. I know that isolation, it contributes to more anxiety for me. I feel disconnected. I have more issues and trouble with my emotional health. And staying inside makes my body feel cringy. I mean, if I want to feel vital and vibrant, I have to be outside. I need daily walks. I need to be moving my body. I need to be taking care of my gut health, right? All of these things that don't require me to buy anything or listen to what I'm being fed, and actually require me to listen to my own inner voice.
Yeah. It's really interesting how it probably for all of us, that question can land differently, but I'm sure there's going to be a through line, and that through line is going to be, well, I either have no idea on how to actually feel my best, or I've experienced things that make me feel really good, and they're the exact opposite of the message that are being portrayed by the world. For me, when I answer the question, what does it mean to feel my best? The things that help cultivate me feeling strong, me feeling, and that can be through my immune system, through my mental capacity and chatter and messages that are coming in, through thoughts and emotions that then come from the thoughts. For me, I have to go through hard, difficult, challenging times to understand that I can be resilient, and then on the other side feel even better because I felt what might be considered bad or sick or struggling. And for me, I don't want to insulate from myself from those things, because insulating myself from difficult times and difficult experiences means I'm not growing, but then I also can't feel the other end of the so-called pendulum. It's like, if you don't know what it means to feel bad, how do you ever know what it feels to be good? Mm-hmm. And so it's kind of this like catch-22 of, are there forces out there in this world and entities out there in this world that truly want to protect us and say, oh, like, here, like, do this and you'll be protected? Mm-hmm. Well, do we need to live a life of protection? And is the protection real? And when you say things like your immune system, we have a 9-month-old, and lately she's been chewing on like a bag that we got from the grocery store, and like, well,
we know, we are aware of choking hazards, and we're watching her the whole time.
Okay.
But what you're saying is so relevant, and I want to nerd out for just a second. So what you're saying is this concept called hormesis, or the hermetic effect. And exercise is a really good example of that. And basically, the hermetic effect means that we require these small to moderate stressors, and experiencing these moderate stressors, like exercise. Exercise is a stress on our body, but it's a good stress.
A U stress.
It's a U stress.
Yeah, EU.
Jinx. And when we sit with those types of stressors, we actually develop greater resilience. So like you're saying with our daughter, when she is chewing on something, or when she drops a toy and then she continues to play with it, that is a little small dose of stress to her immune system, and it actually makes her stronger in the long run, right?
It's like resilience through exposure, I guess, is like,
yeah.
Is that, yeah, it's, and so do you feel your best by insulating yourself, by
No, and I think
I should remove the word protecting, because it's not true protecting, it's the false sense of protection.
It's a false sense of protection. I think it's this overprotection bordering on fragility. Mm-hmm. And I think that it actually leads to the toxic stress that then has all of the physiological health complications, the economic health complications, the social complications, like all of these long-term consequences that Dr. Leaf mentions in that passage. For me, I know that when I'm sitting inside and I'm not going outside, and I'm not taking care of myself, and I'm not going through the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual habits that I need to, and I'm isolating, and I'm not in community, and I'm not in connection, and I'm not in the sun, then my chronic stress is going to make me sick, and it's going to have a ripple effect into everything else.
Yeah. Another thing that came up for me when I was thinking about us recording this video is, I think that to understand what it means to feel our best, we also have to understand what's in our control. And there's a lot of things that aren't in our control right now. Like, do we think that making certain decisions are going to change the world that we're living in right now, and the divisiveness is going to go away? And like, we all wish we could come together, right? And we could try to find common ground. And I really want that to be a through line for our mission and what it truly means to feel our best. But like, to understand what it means to feel our best, we also have to understand what's in our control. And we have the ability to decide what we get to absorb. We have the ability to decide what we do with our body on a daily basis. We have the ability to decide what we put into our body on a daily basis. And that's something that I've thought about recently. You know, when you even think about the name of our company, Cured Nutrition, we are a supplement company, right? And I've said this before, but I think it's pertinent to bring it here to this video. We should expand the definition of nutrition. Nutrition shouldn't just be the food that you put in your mouth. Nutrition, or what we consider a nutrient, a thing that enters our body and can potentially nurture our body, well, that could be the people that we surround ourselves with and the thoughts that we think based off of the people we surround ourselves with. That's the books that we read, the podcasts that we listen to, the media that we absorb. That's nutrition. Like, it's a weird way to think about it, but if you expand the term or the definition of nutrition to be all-encompassing, I think that that's in alignment with what we're trying to discuss here. And
totally. And I think that there's, just like with food, we can look at all of these different variables of what we're ingesting, and we can categorize and know based off of our own personal experiences what's functional, what's healthy nutrition, and what's junk nutrition. Yeah. What's something that's just clogging me up and not making me feel good physically, mentally, emotionally, etc.
Yeah, I instantly thought about like the whole artificial sweetener thing. Oh, well, there's no calories associated to it, but is it actually good for you?
Right.
Like, it's a false sense of health.
Right. It's being told, here's the solution to this problem, and yada, 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 but that solution isn't actually building us up in a holistic, whole person way.
Yeah.
So when you think about all of this all-encompassing nutrition and you think about your best self, what are some things that you do to feel your best? Personally, what do you know about Joe that the world or media doesn't know about Joe's solutions?
Yeah, at the end of the day, to carry on, to continue the conversation of understanding what's truly in your control, for me to feel my best, I have to make promises to myself and keep them. And when I say promises to myself, I mean developing a routine, a lifestyle of healthy habits and routines that I can keep. So I make promises to myself to say, hey, like, this is what my routine looks like. I keep those promises to myself by executing on them, but they're the daily non-negotiables. They're viewing sunlight, they're getting outside, they're hydrating myself, they're putting the proper nutrient-dense meals into my body, and then it's moving my body. And then the continuation past that are what we discussed with books and podcasts and media and understanding thoughts through meditation. But really the beginning is like making promises to myself and keeping them. And I was fully transparent on an Instagram video that I released before this today that I was like, man, the last couple days have been just shit for me. Like, I have a mental mess right now. And I had to go to the gym, and I feel better, but I'm still climbing out of a hole right now. So for me to feel my best, I also have to know what it feels like to not feel good. So 2-part answer to your question, but that's where it really comes from for me.
I think that what you're saying is so important, and it's so relevant, especially right now with what we're all feeling. I was just reading a research paper before we sat down, and so feeling our best doesn't mean never feeling shitty. Feeling our best means that we accept the days and the times when we do feel shitty. And that is actually a marker of our overall mental health, of our overall resilience, of our psychological well-being, and of decreased negative affect in the long term. So the more we allow ourselves to have a mental mess on a given day and be aware of it and still do things like go to the gym to take care of ourselves and accept that this is just kind of where we're at today, and we can cultivate some compassion, and we can take care of our bodies and our minds, and we can be in relationship. and we don't have to force all of the challenging things away, that's actually more predictive of overall health than denying our emotional experience and pretending that everything's okay and good vibes only.
That's powerful. So let's end this video here. What does it mean for you to feel your best? What we discuss here is potentially a piece of clothing that can fit for you. Put it on, try it, see what it feels like. But you feeling your best is dependent on what you actually know makes you feel your best, not what external influences are telling you is the solution, is what makes you feel better. You know what makes you feel better, or maybe you're just discovering it, but it's going to take time and it's going to take effort to actually sit and start to understand what that truly is for you.